Welcome to the POMcast with Stephen Willis. Now we're going to do things a little different. We are going to provide an honest look at Ole Miss athletics for the fan, by the fan, and of the fan. That is what we do. Hell be to me. I'm just kidding. Tune in for some Ole Miss sports news. We're going to give it to you straight. Yeah, right now. The POMcast starts now. It happens now. Holy cow. Listen to me. It's starting. Well, it's going to start right about now. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope everybody is doing well. I'm Stephen Willis. This is the POMcast. And we're having a good time on this Wednesday, January the 6th. There's not really a game to talk about for Ole Miss football. We're doing exit interviews. We're figuring out what we need to do next. In basketball tonight, Kermit Davis and the boys play. They'll be wearing their new powder blue uniforms that actually looks pretty good. It looks kind of a lot like the baseball powder blues to me, in my opinion. But those get used tonight and are worth checking out. And that is 4 of the 5 uniforms this season revealed. We believe there's a throwback. There's a Ole Miss Uniform Archives on Twitter as well, if you want to search for that. And they do stuff uniform related around Ole Miss, so it's worth keeping an eye on. Ole Miss 26, Indiana 20, Outback Bowl. That still happened last week. Still a good game. We went through our position grades for exit interviews, starting with quarterback. Today we are going to do running back in segment 2. In segment 3, we're probably going to talk a little bit about the national title game and maybe the Heisman Trophy. That's kind of the plan for today. And we've kind of hit that point in the year where we're kind of in between. We need a lot of stuff to talk about. And doing so, we are going to try and find somebody that is willing to be the recruiting expert for the site, and we already have an Oxford correspondent, and we're going to we might try and get a uniform correspondent. He comes on and talks about what they're wearing, because we're doing stuff, like I said, a little differently, and we are completely about the fan, and it's of fan, by fan, for fan, and that's kind of what we're doing. And we don't want to charge for content. We set up a policy that we will no longer give credit to or forward to pay sites, because there's no sense. They're trying to just rip you off at this point, and it affects everything. It affects what they cover, and it affects how they cover. They won't admit it, but it's everywhere. So we are not going to do that, because at the end of the day, we do not make money off of content at all. We do not charge subscribers a dime, and we think that information equals access, and access is important to college football. It is the reason attendance is dropping, is lack of access. So we are going to, in our own little way, we're going to fill that niche. So there will be no credit, and there will be no forwarding of anything. If they're talking about a story that we see and want to talk about, we're not going to give them credit. We're not going to be a part of them extorting you. We're just going to tell you the information. And speaking of which, you can follow us on Twitter at the Stephen Willis or at Ole Positively. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/POMcast. Join our Facebook group at Positively Ole Miss. YouTube channel is Positively Ole Miss. On the YouTube channel, we have things like 2020 games on demand. We have great Ole Miss games of all time. There's more stuff than just ours. We've just gone through YouTube and just aggregated what needed to be pulled. So it's pretty cool to look at. We also have Around the SEC there. We have an archive of We Got Notes. All the interviews are there. It links to the Ole Miss feed. Whenever it goes up, it's going to show directly up on that page. Subscribe to it, bookmark it. It's a nice location for the Ole Miss fan, and it gives you things in one location you cannot otherwise get in one location. So we kind of are ahead of the game in that standpoint. Also, if you like audio, and we're basically an audio podcast at the moment, so of course you'll like audio, you can catch us on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, and Pandora. We are learning what needs to be done. It hasn't been approved yet, but we're going to try and get it on radio.com as well. Basically, we are where you are already. You don't have to find us. Just know Positively Ole Miss. It's kind of a unique name. And if you know that, you can move into our ecosystem and do quite well. Everything you need is going to be here. In probably the next couple of months, I'll be doing a video on how to follow recruiting for free. So stick around for that. And I am also, it may not be on the Positively Ole Miss page, it may be on another YouTube page. I'm going to be a kind of a travel person in Orlando potentially. I need to see about that. And I'm going to be going to parks. All that stuff is in there anyway. Might as well video it and find a unique way of getting it done, for you guys to see something kind of entertaining, but also the sights of the theme parks. So that's pretty good. All right, and let's see, what else do we have today? What do we got, Archie? Okay, Archie is busy at the moment, but we'll be back right after this break with the running back room exit interview. Positively Ole Miss.
Only 10% of us get enough daily exercise.
And that number is dropping.
Nearly 30% of us are overweight or obese.
We spend 6 hours a day in front of a screen.
As a result, we now have a shorter life expectancy than our parents.
But give us the right start in sports, and we'll never stop.
Learn how at active4life.ca.
Hey, this is Stephen Willis from Positively Ole Miss. We're almost done with this break. We'll be back with good information quite soon.
The military has been in every generation of my family, and so has VA. It wasn't easy for my dad after Vietnam, but VA helped him and my mom get the home they'd always wanted. My grandpa's been coming to VA since World War II. They even helped him lay to rest one of his battle buddies from Normandy. And me, I followed in their footsteps and served with pride. And now that I'm out of the military, the GI Bill's helping me with school. Every generation of my family has served, and VA has served us all.
Welcome back to the POMcast. Stephen Willis, thank you for joining us today. It's Wednesday, November 6th. No, January 6th. It's not November 6th. The fact that there was an election last night apparently transported me back in time. But we're here to do the running back exit interviews and just kind of talk back and forth a little bit about what we've gotten from the running back position. I mean, Jerry and Ely this year, he got hurt. He only played, what is that? He got hurt in game 9. So about 8.5 games. Ended up with 700 and something yards. Several TDs. He actually had a fairly productive season. Henry Parrish came on at the end of the year. 83 yards against LSU, and then like 70 in Jerry and Ely's absence in the bowl. Snoop Connor made big plays. He definitely has a role in this offense. And Kentrell Bullock got a couple of carries, 2 carries for 11 yards in the Outback Bowl. And the running game has been a constant all year. You can tell that from them leading the SEC in rushing. And something we haven't done, I think, since the 60s, maybe the late 50s. It's been a while. But we led the SEC in rushing this year. And it was all on their back. There was, you had some running quarterback with Matt Corral and his scrambling. But it's not a situation where John Rice Plumlee was playing and doing 1,000 yards worth of quarterback runs. He did do, Matt Corral did rush for about 450 yards. Overall, I give the running back room a B+. Not quite an A, not quite an A-, but a B+. And that's just because they did exactly what was told of them. To get in the A category, you would have to be just a dominant unit. But the B category would be kind of a B+. Feels about right. Jerry Ely had a good year. Returned to kickoff for a touchdown again. He did that last year as well. The way they played offensively, the running back position. You remember on this offense, I'm sorry, I'm just a little bit scatterbrained on this for a second. In this offense, for every pass, there's a tagged run. For every run, there's a tagged pass. So it really is an offense that's designed around doing what the opposite of what you are ready for us to do. If you are ready to play pass against us, we are designed to run the football. It is why the Arkansas game was so frustrating. And that against that look, we were supposed to run for 300 yards. And part of the Arkansas situation, just to continue on, because I'm just stream of consciousness at the moment. Part of the Arkansas game stems from the fact that we hadn't really learned how to win yet. The only win at that point was Kentucky, which we got in overtime off a missed extra point. We didn't really win that game. Kentucky lost that game. They ran for 1,000 yards. They lost that game. Now, as the season wore on against Alabama, and they run for 260, 270 yards, they run the ball well against Auburn. They start picking up against South Carolina and everything. And once they got a grasp on the offense and what they were doing, the running game really came into its own because they realized it's essentially like a Tecmo Bowl offense. I know you young people won't get that, but if you call the right play on defense, you can stop the offense. But if it was one of the other 3 plays, there's going to be a wide open player. That's the way this offense really is. I mean, that's the unvarnished truth at this point, is whenever you expect pass, run is going to be there. And we're using tempo, so there's not any time to match up with what we're doing. You saw that against Alabama. They're an ultimate matchup team. They want to have a certain personnel against exactly what we're doing as a way to fight it and push it off. Our tempo is so fast, they can't really do that. And in short yardage, it helps the run game. I mean, Snoop Connor against Alabama on 4th and 2. It's that play where Snoop Connor ran to make it 4th and 2, and within 7 seconds, they lined up in a completely different formation, ran the ball off tackle for about 28 yards. I mean, that is the example of what this offense does. They go so fast, it really pressures the defense in ways that they're not used to being pressured. And the run game is one of the big beneficiaries of that. If you are a matchup defense, we can just scheme you, go from formation to formation and stack them on top of it to get your best players where we want them to be and go away from them wide open. A couple of examples of that is that 4th and 2 against Alabama. The third touchdown against Vanderbilt was a big schemed, stacked play. It happens a couple of times a game to where they just stack plays on top of each other because they want to get your best player on the opposite side of the field and get the matchup they want. I mean, against Vanderbilt on that third touchdown, they got Elijah Moore for a double move. There was nobody within 20 yards of him on that side of the field. They did it all kinds of motion and all kinds of movement and just schemed him open. And it's another benefit of this offense. The tempo does not allow you to match up. All the pass plays have a run tag. All the run plays have a pass tag. And basically, no matter what you call, you are going to be wrong. Now, we're not saying the defense is not going to make plays. We're not saying that at all. What we're saying is that we have the ultimate spread offense in Oxford at the time being. And everybody should be so thankful that it is, because there is no offense in college football as versatile, as lethal as this. And you saw that a little bit against Indiana when they were able to put up numbers when they were missing their top 4 weapons. So whenever you have an offense, there's tempo, there's scheme, and there's coaching. Those are the 3 things that are important with an offense. Tempo, lightning fast, that's something we do. Check. Scheme is just a true spread offense where there's a tag for a run and a pass on every play. And coaching, you got Lane Kiffin adding 10 shot plays a game that just gets everybody, for Ole Miss fan-wise, really pumped up, but it catches the other team completely off guard because of the tempo. They don't have times to match up, and they might not see what's happening, and it's real easy to slip something by the other team and put somebody there, and Elijah Moore is over by himself one-on-one 20 yards away from the nearest defender. So everybody needs to enjoy this. And also, everybody's talking about the extension that Jeff Lebby just signed, which he did. And it's great that he's coming back. I mean, it absolutely is. But the reality is the same kind of situation happened down at FAU with Kendall Briles and then Charlie West Jr. becoming the new OC. After a year, he moved on. But the main part is the install, how they play. That the Baylor people are really good at teaching. It's about the operations of this tempo in the install of it. And then after it's already installed, the people in front of you, becomes like an older dog and a younger dog. They'll show him the ropes. But is something to look at. Lebby is great. He's fantastic, and I'm so glad he's in Oxford. But just know that the first year, it's very important to have that Baylor group because they are familiar with the tempo. And also another thing to remember, after next season, this will be 5 years of Lane running this offense. It's become an offensive choice to him. I think he likes the fact that he can come up with 10 shot plays and somebody else handles the minutia. That sounds kind of weird, but I think that's the way that shakes out. Now, again, this is the exit interview room for running backs. And basically, I will give them a B+. They were fantastic this year. They did what they were supposed to do. And they really helped in this offense. They opened up explosive plays by fear of them. You can see how this offense could be really dangerous if the other team really had to concentrate on the run game. But we had all those weapons at wide receiver. And next year we're going to have weapons at wide receiver. People will need to get ready for that. So that's what we're looking at the running back exit room, or exit interview. It was a great year. It was a B+ type year. It needs to grow a little bit. But we'll come back to segment 3 on the POMcast. Stick around.
You want to answer that, don't you? I bet it's just killing you seeing the soft glow just inches away. Someone wants to tell you something or ask you something. Oh, come on, answer it already! Just so we're clear, that wasn't my fault. Next time, ignore your inner voice. Don't text and drive. A message from Florida's trusted choice independent insurance agents.
Hey, this is Stephen Willis. I just want you to stick around a little longer. We're going to get back to the podcast right after these messages.
Tonight, nearly 40,000 veterans across the country are homeless. These men and women have pledged to serve our nation, and now we must serve them. Landlords across the country have helped make significant progress in reducing veteran homelessness by making housing available, but there is more that we can do to bring our veterans home. Visit www.va.gov/homeless to see how you can get involved. And if you are a veteran and you are experiencing homelessness, please call 877-4AID-VET. Thank you.
POMcast, segment 3. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday, January 6th. It's really great. Really great day. This past segment, we talked about the exit interview for the running back room and a little bit talking about the offense and what it wants to do and exactly what it is. Now we're just kind of going to talk. Devontae Smith from Alabama won the Heisman Trophy. That was probably a good pick. Although he couldn't have done a single thing in the award without Mac Jones. I kind of have trouble there, especially with Mac Jones being on the stage with him. He was a great player. There's no doubt about it, but so was Mac Jones, who had probably the best SEC football season in the history of the conference. He lost. Mac Jones probably would have won it if Jalen Waddle hadn't gotten hurt, who honestly is the best receiver on Alabama's team. I mean, Devontae Smith is great, but there's a reason Jalen Waddle was kind of the number one. Also, speaking of Jalen Waddle, everybody go to Huddle, watch J.J. Henry video, and tell me that isn't a Jalen Waddle clone. And something to really look forward to next year. And Braylon Sanders and Dontario Drummond announced they're coming back. Jalen Jones is coming back for a 6th year. T. Tisdale, Sam Williams coming back. Ben Brown coming back. We have a chance, with the experience that we gained over the course of this year, to be pretty good next year. And then we add all of the transfers, like Jacob Springer will be available next year. And the transfers that we get this year will be available this year. And the recruiting class that is so talented. Lots of defensive linemen, lots of defensive players. We have a chance to be fairly good next year. We just have to do it. They've figured out this whole winning thing. They're taking on the personality of their coach, which means you're going to see an Ole Miss team next year and in the future, as long as he's here, that just does not give a damn what you think. It just couldn't mean less to them. And, that's pretty great. It's what we've wanted. Because I've been a champion for years that we need to stop paying attention to outsiders. Outsiders tells us we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do this, and there's no skin in the fight for them at all. So quit listening to them. Just because they have a blue check mark next to their name doesn't mean their opinion is worth shit. You need to internalize what you're doing, especially right now. Give Lane Kiffin what he wants. That's step one, and that's really all you have to do. Fans, go to games. Sell out Vaught Hemingway, which they will. And once you start doing this and start stacking it, the facilities are set to be improved. There's a capital campaign coming in this spring to improve facilities. Keep Lane happy. Because outsiders and clickbait journalists are going to use Lane Kiffin, and coaches, they're trying to stir up drama. They're trying to make you anxious. That Ole Miss could never keep Lane Kiffin. Why not? Seriously, why not? There's like 12 jobs in the country that can give him maybe a little more. We're not going to lose him below. If you give him what he wants and keep him happy, he will build Ole Miss into a winner. If you listen to outsiders and everything, he's going to leave. And we're going to perpetuate this cycle of coaching changes. And they'll get to make money on selling subscriptions on a coaching search, because at the end of the day, that's what they want, to run off the coach we have, so they can try and make money in the interim being wrong about a coaching search. That's the facts. That's 10 years at Rivals talking. That's what they do. It might be masked in something, but that's the raw data of what it is. So stop listening to outsiders. And that includes media. And that includes local media. If they say you or they, when talking about the Ole Miss fans or Ole Miss football team, they are not to be trusted. If somebody is fighting so hard to tell you that they're not interested, that they need to move on, don't trust them. That's a bias affecting their coverage. Just like Monty. So the next time somebody tells you that you're a fan and talks to you like, oh, you don't know what's going on, you're a fan, look at them, laugh, and move on about your day, because that's about all you can do, because they're not bright. Anyway, on this Wednesday, we've gone over the running back room, exit interview. We have hit Devontae Smith winning the Heisman, although I like Jalen Waddle better. And we talked about how outsiders need little to no influence on the program. Anyway, I'm Stephen Willis. I will catch you tomorrow. Hotty toddy.